So well, hello there. Now it is about time that I make another video, because well, I haven't made any videos in the last 2 months again. I'm sorry about that, because yeah, due to my current job, which I'm currently having, which will go to the end of December, my time schedule is a little bit full, and making videos and editing them doesn't really fit in that, so that's why my channel was so inactive. So, as you can see, this video is going to be a small unboxing and modifying something. As you've guessed, because of the Amiga manual, it will be something about an Amiga. Well, almost. So let's open. I just skipped opening that because I needed both hands, and doing that with one hand and also holding the camera is a little bit difficult. So let's see what we've got. I'll get rid of the packaging paper and let's have a look. It's floppy drives. We have 1, 2, 3. Need both hands. 5 floppy drives. Well, but these are PC floppy drives, and they will definitely not work on an Amiga. Well, let's have a small look at which floppy drives we specifically have. So, this is a Samsung SFD-321B. My camera will focus on that. And this is one of the easiest floppy drives to modify to be able to read double density disks and work on Amiga hardware. And well, why did I order 5 of them? Well, because my current project was lying over here and taking up almost all of the space I have on my workbench. And yeah, it's combining an Amiga, a Raspberry Pi, a small CRT TV, and a stereo amplifier, all into one box to have one big, massive media entertainment system. And yeah. And this is the Amiga, which I did that 5-part video about that I tried to fix. Now, unfortunately, I sold the expansion memory, so I'm a little bit short on that, so I just nabbed the expansion memory of one of my other 4 Amiga 500s that I have. So I'll try to get another one of these, so that on all of my Amigas I'll have the sufficient amount of RAM, or if it's possible, I'll try to solder the chips in so I have the 1 megabyte on board. So, well, let's take a look at the floppy drive. And, well, the reason why I ordered 5 of them in total is, well, if I do something wrong, I'll still have some backups to verify if everything is okay. And also, well, my Amiga 2000, I want to add another floppy drive to that one. Now, this is a real Amiga floppy drive, which I just have taken from an external floppy drive because it had the same color as the Amiga. So 2 of those will go into the Amiga 2000, and 1 of those will go into the external floppy drive that I have. And also 1 of those will be used in the entire project, because, well, the only floppy drive I currently have left over is this one. And as you can see, that's an internal Amiga 500 floppy drive, and that would not look really good. Because the 2 other floppy drives I have left over here, they are both defective, and I still haven't managed to fix them. Well, this is original Amiga 2000 floppy drive, and this one, well, I found some rocks in it, and that's why it's not working, and the other one has got some alignment issues, and that's also the reason why it's not working. So, oops, I just threw something off my workbench. Back to these. Now these are used floppy drives, but they are all verified that they are working, and I also have some warranty on them. Of course the warranty will expire because, well, I have to do some small modifications on that. And I also have the instructions to do the mod. There's a small resistor that has to be removed, and you have to set the drive from DS1 to DSO, and so on. Also there has to be installed a jumper wire. I'll link the image into the description so that I also have listed the source where I got that from. So let's open up one of these. Well, I'm just going to remove the bottom cover so that we get access to this bottom circuit board. Well, it wasn't that easy to take apart because, well, I removed all the screws from the bottom cover and the bottom cover didn't want to come off. Turns out you have to remove one screw from the top cover, remove all the screws from the bottom cover, and then the floppy drive will just slide open. So I just have it hooked up to my Amiga without any modifications whatsoever, and now absolutely nothing should happen when I insert an Amiga disk while the Amiga is powered on. So I'll just switch the Amiga on. Here are the LEDs, and of course it will try to access the floppy drive, and it will just fail at that. There we go. And now if I insert a disk, there's not Workbench on here, it says Workbench, it's an Andromeda demo. As you see, absolutely nothing is happening, and the Amiga doesn't even recognize that there's being something inserted. Well, which of course is true, because this is not an Amiga floppy drive. It's a PC floppy drive, and there's no way that this thing will work in an Amiga without any modifications whatsoever. Just to show you that again, that if I power the Amiga off and power it back on, getting a software failure warning. It's true. Skip that. It's trying to access a floppy drive, but the floppy drive is just not communicating with the Amiga, and we're getting absolutely nothing. So I'll switch that off, and now I'll list you the steps that you've gotta do. Now the reason why I chose this floppy drive in particular, because I have got some floppy drives in storage, but I have got some issues with those, because well, I tried to modify them, but I couldn't. First of all, you have to set, there's a resistor jumper on the DC pad, and you have to move that to RDY, and I couldn't find that at all on my floppy drives that I had, so that's why I ordered this one, because this is the most modified floppy drive for the Amiga. Next, you have to make sure that the in-use and NHDD jumpers are all disconnected. I couldn't even find those on the other drive, so again, this one. And this is also the instructions for modifying this floppy drive in particular. Next, you have to solder a wire from DC to pin 2. And then you have to set the floppy drive from DS1 to DSO, or 0. This was the only thing the other floppy drive had, and well, without the selecting, of course it won't work. And here's just a small close-up of your final result. There is the jumper that we've moved from DC to R to Y, and the modification wire going to pin 2. So yeah, well, and of course here are the pads. Here is the DC, what I'm talking about, sorry, here's DSO and DS1, and in INUs and NHDD have to all be disconnected. I'll show you that on a close-up on the floppy drive itself. if I can get it out of the Amiga. Wow. So, as you see, here is our step 1. Here we have the jumper resistor for DC, and we have to move that up one pad to RDY. Then we have to make sure that in use and in HDD are all disconnected. It looks like they are, but I'll look under the microscope and see if everything is alright. Then we have to solder a wire from DC directly to pin 2. So from going directly from here all the way down there. And of course we have to remove the jumper, which is just a solder blob, from DS1 to DSO. And that's it to make this thing Amiga compatible. Also thinking about if I maybe change the LED color, but yeah, maybe not. So I'll start with this, and I'll show you the result afterwards. So as you can see, I've completed step 1 to move the jumper resistor from DC to RDY, and what I'll do now is check if these 4 pads, I in use and in HDD, are all disconnected. And I've looked under that, and they are all disconnected. So before I'll do the jumper from DC to pin 2, I'll just move the solder blob from DS1 to DSO. Well, that was unfortunate. As you can see, I've accidentally sucked up the DS1 pad, but I've checked all the traces besides it if they are okay, and they all seem to be okay. So luckily this drive is still operational and I haven't destroyed it. Now this is also the reason why I've ordered multiple ones of these, because if I do something wrong I always have 1 or 2 backups. Yeah, so that's something you have to look out for and be very careful. Well, I was, but I still accidentally sucked up the pad, but yeah, luckily nothing else got damaged. Whew, that was close. Okay, well, I have joined the new jumper for DSO, and I've already checked if everything is okay and I'm getting proper connections on the correct traces. I just did that to verify that I haven't damaged any traces that are around there, because as you've seen, I did suck up that pad. So, well, now we have to make a jumper wire going from DC, it's the second pin that goes directly into the chip here, all the way over to pin 2 on the floppy connector. And that is actually the easiest part. The most difficult part is probably just removing the small jumper resistor from here to RDY. Because, well, if you drop that resistor, you are most likely never going to find it again. And of course, well, this is SMD soldering, so yeah, that is always a little bit difficult. So there we go, the mod is complete. There is the wire going from pin 2 from the floppy connector all the way up to the second pad on DC, which goes directly into the chip there. So let's hook this thing up to the Amiga and see if it works. I hope so. Okay, so well, I have hooked up the modified floppy drive to the Amiga. The original Amiga floppy drive is over here. Well, before I power it up, I'm going to show you my old standard PC floppy drives that I have and why I couldn't use those. Well, here is one of the floppy drives I have, and unfortunately I have almost always the exact same model. Now this is a TEAC FD-23HF. Camera doesn't want to focus. There we go. And I have got almost 5 of these, or even more. And well, the instructions for all of these floppy drives to make them Amiga compatible, or at least read double density disks, and work on Amiga hardware is always this exact same thing as here. Well, the problem was I was searching the whole board and I couldn't find DC or RDY. The only thing I could find was there, DS1 and DSO. That's it, and nothing else. And of course, well, if I can't modify the floppy drive, it's definitely not going to work on the Amiga. So, well, everything is hooked up. So let's power it on and see. Remember, first when I powered on the floppy drive, the light wouldn't go on the floppy drive, and the Amiga would immediately, well, after displaying the white screen, switch on the floppy drive light, the yellow one, and just not do anything at all. So let's see what happens now. There we go, I just hear the floppy drive clicking. Whoops. There we go. As you can see, the Amiga goes almost immediately to the workbench screen. The light does not go on, and the floppy drive is clicking. It's moving the head back and forth a bit, and it was not doing anything before. So let's go and insert our disk. Again, this is a Andromeda demo. It's a DOS demo, not Workbench. I had a Workbench on here, but for some reason I put something else on it. So let's see what happens. Whoops. As you can see, nothing happens. Well, that is why, because this is a floppy drive that reads HD disks. And these don't really work on Amiga, so that's also why they have got this another hole here. So what we've got to do is take a small piece of tape and tape it over the hole, so that the floppy drive will think this is a normal double density floppy with the 700 kilobytes and not the 1.4 megabytes. So let's see what happens now. That sounds different. And we're going directly into the demo. Just turn the volume up a bit. Of course, when I'm done with the case mod of the Amiga, I will not use the speakers and the TV. The amplifier has got its own speakers, and they are up here and here, the big and the small ones, to have proper audio output out of this thing. And this TV only has got one speaker, so it's mono audio, and I really want to have stereo on this. So well, there you can see that this mod is complete, and as you've seen, it's very easy to do. Again, the link to the image with the instructions is linked in the description, so that if you have got this kind of floppy drive or one that is similar, you can do everything by yourself and so on. I would really recommend this floppy drive because it's the most hacked one, or the easiest one to modify. And there you go, that's the model. And just to show you that I'm actually using the real floppy drive, there you go, the light is on. And on the back, you can see it's the modified one. Just showing you that this is a real PC floppy drive running on the Amiga hardware. And as you see, it works pretty great. Now one thing I might do additionally is I'll short one of the contacts on the switch that will tell the floppy drive that this is a HD disk or not, so that I don't have to always put tape over the hole on the floppy. Just showing you the read-write head so that you can see that it's actually moving and doing something. Select language, let's go with English, although I'm in Germany, but I've got no problems with English. There's me again. This is, for example, one of almost the best tunes on this entire game. Unfortunately, I only have the first disc, so I can't go into the game because I need the second disc for that. So, well, yeah, that was how you can modify a PC floppy drive to work on Amiga hardware. It's not difficult to do, it's actually pretty simple. And again, this is why I recommend this specific Samsung floppy drive, because it is one of the easiest ones to modify, whereas almost all of my other floppy drives are similar to this one, and well, they don't have the proper connections, so that I can't modify it. And well, yeah, because most of the Amiga floppy drives already have got plus 20 years or so, they won't last for a very long time, because this one here, for example, not quite sure when it was made, but this was the original floppy drive of the Amiga, and it hasn't been opened before, so yeah, I'm not sure how long this one will last anymore until it just gives up, or there's a head alignment issue. So that's why this would probably be a pretty good backup. Also, great packaging. Yay! ESD save bubble wrap. Woohoo! Now this is how you have to package electronics and send them to your customers. So well, yeah, that was basically it. Just gonna switch off everything, especially the TV. You do not want to touch anything in there, because I'm pretty sure there are plus 10,000 volts in there, and you really do not want to touch that. So yeah, until then, sorry not for making any videos again. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.